Breaking tonight, the first bodies now recovered in Baltimore after that horrifying bridge collapse.
We need to bring a sense of closure and comfort to the families.
What we know about the men still missing and the crucial reporter now retrieved from on board the ship. CBC News reveals a surge in kids missing school across the country.
Third or half of the class is absent at the same time.
What we uncovered that has parents and educators concerned. And could a solution to Canada's housing crisis be found in the U.S.?
This is great for homeowners.
We break down a landmark court decision that could make it cheaper to buy and sell.
From CBC News, this is The National with Erica Johnson.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Adrian is on assignment. We begin with breaking news out of Baltimore. Authorities updating the investigation into that deadly bridge collapse just as we are coming on the air tonight. A mess of twisted metal is all that is left of the Francis Scott Key Bridge after this. An out-of-control container ship slammed into the bridge Tuesday to cause it to crumble. And late tonight, confirmation the bodies of 2 workers who were on the bridge at the time have now been recovered from the water below. Katie Simpson is in Baltimore for us again tonight. Katie, take us through what we just heard at a late news conference.
The ship was carrying dozens of containers of hazardous materials, and some of that has now spilled into the water, while investigators have recovered 6 hours of data recording, including audio that captures the moment leading up to the crash. The cold, gray, and wet conditions making the brutal recovery mission even more miserable. After spending hours in the water, divers found the bodies of 2 of the 6 missing construction workers, discovered inside a truck that was on the bridge as it collapsed.
Shortly before 10 a.m.
Authorities are now warning they may never find the bodies of the 4 men who remain missing.
Based on sonar scans, we firmly believe that the vehicles are encased in the superstructure and concrete that we tragically saw come down.
When this cargo ship, the Dolly, lost power early Tuesday, it sent out a mayday call, giving first responders about 90 seconds to close the bridge to oncoming traffic. With recovery efforts now ended, the investigation is ramping up. The National Transportation Safety Board has seized the ship's recording devices, which could provide critical information.
Everything from positioning of ship, of the vessel itself, to speed, you name it. We hope to have that information to begin to pull together a timeline of events before the striking of the bridge, immediately after.
Baltimore Harbor remains closed for the foreseeable future.
The Port of Baltimore is an important port, so for our supply chains and for all the workers who depend on it for their income, we're going to help to get it open as soon as safely possible.
When the bridge was built in the 70s, locals saw it as relief for the working class, since it dramatically cut commute times for lower-income workers in the harbor. The pastor of a church about a kilometer from the site says that's what makes this loss deeply personal to so many here.
A lot of the community members actually felt and heard the collision of the boat with the bridge. And so a lot of individuals here who actually watched the bridge being constructed ultimately saw it come to its demise. Folks have, a spirit of sadness.
And Katie, what more do we know about the 6 victims?
They were all a part of the same construction crew, fathers, sons, brothers in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. They were from Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Authorities are saying they tried to warn the construction crew to get off the bridge, that police had called out to them. At this point in the investigation, it appears they just didn't have enough time to escape.
Katie Simpson in Baltimore for us tonight. Now to a CBC News investigation revealing a troubling trend in schools across the country. Students are missing more class than before the pandemic. And unlike some countries, Canada does not collect public data on attendance. That's where our team started digging, asking the country's largest 41 school districts about absenteeism. We learned that in some cases, up to 2/3 of students missed more than 10% of recent school years. Senior data journalist Tara Carmen spoke with parents and experts about why it might be happening now and what needs to be done to get kids back in the classroom.
Hey bud, how you feeling?
Tired.
It's a school day for Beth Acton's 12-year-old son Connor, but he's not at school.
If you're done napping, you need to log in to check on your schoolwork, okay?
Okay.
Ever since he got COVID the second time, Connor's been easily fatigued and susceptible to every illness running through his grade 7 class. Acton uses the school's attendance app to report Connor's latest absence.
145 absent periods this year. I am personally quite worried he's going to lose his year.
Acton's other two kids, Jacob and Tessa, have also noticed fewer students showing up for school.
Sometimes significant proportions of the class are absent, or a third or half of the class is absent at the same time.
An exclusive analysis by CBC News suggests this family's experience is not unique. Rates from school districts we were able to obtain data from reveal there are fewer kids showing up in classrooms than before the pandemic.
In the same way that many adults got used to working from home, many kids got out of that routine of going to school regularly.
Maria Rogers is a clinical psychologist.
If we think about the many children who started school during the COVID-19 pandemic, when there were frequent disruptions, to some extent, absenteeism has become more normalized, and we're seeing that sort of snowball effect as those kids now go through elementary school.
For example, chronic absence rates more than doubled at Toronto's Catholic elementary schools to 33%. Same story in New Brunswick's Anglophone School District West to 38%. Some of the highest rates we found were in Newfoundland and Labrador, where 68% of secondary school students were chronically absent.
In our own little community here, I see kids that don't go to school.
Don Coombs is president of the province's Federation of School Councils.
If those students miss the majority of this school year again, we've lost them. The school has to be a safe place that these students, for whatever reasons, are missing school are going to say, okay, I'm comfortable going to school.
With the help of a new grant, Rogers is working with community agencies and school boards to support kids getting to school more regularly.
We know that academic achievement, more broadly speaking, is one of the top predictors worldwide of a healthy adulthood. And so it's important that we're encouraging regular attendance amongst our kids.
Have a good night, buddy. I love you.
Which is why Acton's hoping Connor will be back to regular attendance soon.
So Tara, the stakes are high. What are educators doing?
Erica, one thing our investigation found is that governments and school districts are largely not keeping track of this. So until we start to take this seriously, as is done in the US and UK, there's not a lot schools can do.
Okay, so what about parents?
So with parents, communication with kids is really important. If they're missing that much school, there's probably a reason why. So talking to kids about why they're not comfortable being at school, and to schools about what can make kids feel good about getting back into the classroom.
Thanks for this. Tara Carmen reporting in Vancouver. The Liberal government is already starting to roll out its next budget, promising new support for renters and trying to gain the support of young voters. Marina von Stackelberg now with what's on offer.
This is one room full of boxes. Every other room in the apartment is pretty much the same.
Etienne Domingue and his partner just moved cities, not because they wanted to.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
They were forced out for renovations and then priced out of the Ottawa region.
Having to pay double or triple wasn't really conceivable. So we made the difficult choice to relocate.
Great to be back in Vancouver. This place is a second home to me.
In the most expensive city to rent a home, the Prime Minister offered a new plan to protect tenants.
We're focused on fairness. Fairness for renters, fairness for young people, fairness for the future.
Ottawa will give $15 million to legal aid groups that help tenants. It also wants banks to consider a person's history of paying rent on time toward their credit score. And the government promises a renter's bill of rights. Landlords would have to tell a potential new tenant what they've charged for a place in the past.
This is going to come down to teeth and enforcement. I noticed he said that they will call on landlords. Okay, well, what does that mean?
Ottawa says its new measures will help the 2/3 of young Canadians who rent.
Your frustration is understandable. This isn't your fault, and it doesn't need to be your future.
Ministers fanned out across the country to echo that message.
What we're here to do today is to talk a little bit about renters.
Gen Z and millennials have in the past been key to the Liberal government's election wins. But polls show younger Canadians are moving en masse to the Conservatives.
Among those that said they voted Liberal in the last election and would vote Conservative today, they are far more likely to say housing is a top issue.
The Liberal government will keep trying to show it's listening to Canadians' concerns. And with the federal budget less than 3 weeks away, the Prime Minister says more announcements are coming. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
The next phase of the federal inquiry into foreign interference is now underway, hearing directly from the communities who say they've been hunted, harassed, and intimidated by foreign governments in this country. Their testimony now from Ashley Burke.
Indian community. Diaspora community groups say their members are the direct victims of foreign interference and want this public inquiry to do something about it.
It touches your life. It touches your safety. It touches your security. It touches your family comfort. It touches your career. It touches your future. You don't get sleep.
Their testimony is part of an inquiry investigating the extent to which China, Russia, and other countries meddled in the past 2 federal elections. But what they suffered is even more personal.
Sorry for being emotional because we have gone through many of these things that we don't have to.
They say they're being watched, followed, and intimidated by foreign proxies on Canadian soil.
The community doesn't feel safe, and they're worried.
They're targets, they say, because they've been critical of their home country's human rights records.
They collect information, they monitor your schedule, and they send that information to the public safety in China, and they coordinate together. And them in China reach out to your families, family members, and take hostage of your family members and force you to do something against your will here in Canada.
That transnational repression, they say, can involve their home country refusing consular services or even laying criminal charges abroad for protesting here.
Because they posted something on social media or engaged in some sort of activism against the Russian government, they have criminal charges laid against them, and then this becomes an additional obstacle when they attempt to gain citizenship. So it is a major threat.
The inquiry will hear from about 40 witnesses over the next 2 weeks, including those from intelligence agencies, political parties, and the Prime Minister himself. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Police in Toronto say they've recovered 48 stolen vehicles in an undercover operation aimed at what investigators call an auto theft epidemic.
In Canada, a vehicle is stolen every 5 minutes. The vehicles that the organized crime groups are targeting in Ontario are newer and of greater value than ever before.
Preventing auto theft grant.
Police say the vehicles are worth more than $3.7 million. Some were going to be exported, others were being resold in Canada. In total, 7 people have been arrested. They're facing a combined 150 charges. We have new information about the man now accused of a string of brutal sex assaults in Ontario back in the 90s. Today in court was the first public glimpse of the suspect in the notorious Woodland rapist case. Thomas Dagla was there.
It was a fall evening 30 years ago. A 10-year-old boy was lured into this wooded area near Toronto, tied to a tree, and attacked. One of 3 sexual assaults on children in the 1990s linked to a man known only as the Woodland rapist. For decades, this police composite sketch was the public's only image of the attacker. Now, all these years later, a man has appeared in court charged with those crimes.
He was shocked at the arrest and at the allegations.
Richard Neal's legal team says he has no knowledge of the crimes. 64-year-old Neal is facing 20 counts, including kidnapping and sexual assault with a weapon. The charges against him coming decades after officers canvassed neighborhoods and made dire public warnings about a child sex predator on the loose.
We have to get this person off the street.
Then Detective Sergeant Graham Barnes led the investigation in the mid-90s. We reached him all these years later.
I had the opportunity to read all of the witness statements at the time, the victim statements, if you wish, at the time, and, clearly they were all devastated by it.
While police say Neil was from BC, we visited the Toronto condo that court records list as his home and found packages sent to him here recently at this address.
Very quiet guy, never say much.
CBC News has learned Neil's late mother worked at the University of Waterloo in the early 90s when the attacker struck nearby. Where the accused spent that time and how police were led to him all remain a mystery. Unanswered questions that may yet come out in court. Neil is set to return to court next week for a bail hearing. His lawyer says he's innocent. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Brampton, Ontario.
In the U.S. tonight, former Senator Joe Lieberman is being remembered after news he died earlier today at the age of 82. Lieberman was the first Jewish vice presidential nominee of a major party. He ran alongside Al Gore in 2000. Lieberman's family says he died in New York after suffering complications from a fall. His funeral is set for Friday. Documents obtained by CBC News show there were numerous warnings before the Titan submersible imploded on its way to the Titanic.
He was regularly misrepresenting the safety of the Titan. Oh, sure he was.
The Fifth Estate investigates why transport agencies did little to stop it. If you're already sneezing, you're not the only one.
I'm all sniffly today.
Why climate change may be to blame. And the kid who said hi to strangers.
Hi, hi, hi.
Over and over and over again.
Hi.
We're back in 2. This is the scene of a tragic bus crash in eastern Germany. At least 5 people are dead and more than 50 are injured. The long-haul coach veered off a busy highway before flipping onto its side. It's still not clear what caused the crash. An investigation by the Fifth Estate has uncovered new details about the Titan submersible and its deep-sea expedition to the Titanic that killed 5 people. We now know multiple warnings were issued about the sub's critical design flaws. Mark Kelly now with why these serious issues may have been ignored.
It was 2023 and the Titan submersible had become a bit of a fixture in St. John's Harbor.
Check it out. Got a lot of people working on the submarine.
This is YouTuber Jake Kohler preparing to leave port bound for the Titanic. But in Kohler's words, everything went wrong on the trip, including a failure of the sub's computer system.
We've got to find out what this control problem is. That's sort of important, controlling the sub. It's up there with life support.
The trip was called off, and this was just 2 weeks before Titan would implode. But this wasn't the first warning. There were troubles with the submersible. The Fifth Estate obtained this safety report written by OceanGate's own Director of Marine Operations. In 2018, David Lockridge outlined more than 24 design flaws with the sub, including that experimental carbon fiber hull that deteriorated with every dive. His boss, Stockton Rush, fired him the next day. Rush assured people he had partnered with Boeing, NASA, and the University of Washington to design the hull. When contacted by the Fifth Estate, all denied they had built, designed, or tested the sub. Canadian Will Conan, who builds subs in California, warned Rush in 2018 in an open letter his expeditions to the Titanic could end in tragedy.
So do you believe that he was regularly misrepresenting the safety of the Titan? Oh, sure he was.
So why did no maritime safety agencies in St. John's question the seaworthiness of the sub as it traveled in and out of the harbor with paying passengers for 3 years? The St. John's Port Authority told us they watched the Titan come and go, but said it was Transport Canada's job to inspect it. Transport Canada told us because it was a U.S.-flagged vessel, it was up to U.S. authorities. But the Fifth Estate determined the Titan was never flagged in the U.S.
I think it was General MacArthur said, "You're remembered for the rules you break."
And, you know, I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did.
Was Transport Canada aware of all the warnings about Titan? The agency declined our interview request, citing the ongoing investigation by the Transportation Safety Board. Mark Kelly, CBC News, St. John's.
You can stream the entire investigation right now on the Fifth Estate's YouTube channel or watch it Friday on CBC Television or CBC Gem at 9 p.m., 9:30 in Newfoundland. Americans could start paying less to buy and sell a home.
It's about transparency. It's about fairness. It matters because we're talking about a huge amount of money.
Peter Armstrong explains why the same could be coming here. And the serious science of a solar eclipse.
So if the definition of a solar eclipse is just the moon blocking the sun, then shouldn't I just be able to kind of do that myself?
Andrew Chang explores the power behind the sun's corona.
By the way, don't look at it directly.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. For many Canadians, the seasonal sniffles have begun early this year. A mild winter in some parts of the country meant trees released pollen sooner. As Shauna Reid explains, for allergy sufferers, this could be the new normal.
Counting pollen. That's the task at hand. For 3 decades, scientists at this Ottawa lab have been collecting and analyzing daily air samples from across the country, looking for pollen and fungal spores. And they've seen a significant shift.
What we're seeing in Canada over the last 10, 15 years is definitely an increase in overall pollen levels, as well as concentration, as well as duration of seasons.
Their data shows pollen season is now 2 to 3 weeks longer in Canada, starting earlier and ending later in the year.
And we're going to see more people have allergies than we have in the past.
Some research says climate change is partly to blame for longer seasons and higher concentrations of pollen. Both elevated temperatures and more carbon dioxide in the air increased pollen production. This year, warm weather in BC meant an early start to those pesky symptoms.
Our patients were complaining of seasonal allergies starting at the end of January, early February.
I'm allergic to Just ask these folks.
I get allergy shots, and so that's every single week.
It's just some runny noses and some stuffy noses and itchy eyes and itchy palates. I'm all sniffly today, and I blow my nose many, many times this morning.
It's estimated 20 to 25% of Canadians suffer from seasonal allergies. And the triggers continue for months, from tree pollen in spring, grass in the summer, to ragweed heading into fall. And with higher concentrations of pollen,
the higher the counts, the more you breathe in, the more you feel, the more symptoms you have. Are trees and grass, weeds and ragweeds.
This pediatric allergist says the shift in allergy season has led to her patients becoming more proactive.
Starting their antihistamines earlier, or starting their nose sprays earlier, just so that they don't feel the impact.
An impact that many experts say will now be the new normal. Shauna Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
New Canadian research says climate change could also drastically change the wildlife with whom we share our cities. As Emily Chung shows us, some familiar animal neighbors could become scarce, and other unwanted pests may flourish.
To make sure
this team at the Toronto Zoo works to protect baby Blandings turtles.
We have the little guys up here, and then they'll go bigger down that way.
In the wild, they're threatened by predators like raccoons or dogs. But there's one threat they may not be able to escape.
Climate change is a very big factor for these guys. It's affecting kind of their breeding cycle.
New Canadian research reveals the animals we share our cities with may have to respond to the changing climate by moving in or out.
The nature that we interact with is the nature in our backyards, it's on the streets, it's in the local parks.
The research looked at 2,000 kinds of wildlife in 60 cities across North America, modeling where they could live in the climate we could expect by the year 2100. The amount of change is shocking, says this researcher.
Seeing hundreds of species moving in, hundreds of species moving out.
It also says some of Canada's largest cities will see the biggest changes. A warmer, wetter climate driving out some species while bringing in hundreds of new ones. This Toronto pest control company says it's already seeing a boom in one critter.
We used to get maybe a few calls per year. People didn't even know how possums look like. They migrated to the north, due to obviously the climate change and urbanization.
Other newcomers are much smaller and bring public health concerns with them.
I think we need to get much more prepared for the spread of zoonotic diseases that are always more prevalent in warmer, wetter areas.
Big changes to our urban wildlife creates challenges, but the new study found we can keep changes less drastic if we do more to mitigate climate change. Emily Chung, CBC News, Toronto.
Now we dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. What a solar eclipse can teach us about the sun and the crazy stuff it does that affects us.
It's really cool because those explosions are the biggest ones that happen in the solar system.
But first, real estate commissions for home sales could be drastically cut.
It's clear to us that consumers are being ripped off.
Change has already come to the U.S. after lawsuits against realtors.
And this is great for homeowners.
So, a class action lawsuit in Canada, a big settlement in the U.S. What could it all mean for you? Peter Armstrong, our senior business correspondent, is here to break it all down for us. Peter, can you bring us up to speed? How could this court settlement have an impact on home sales in the U.S.?
Yeah, look, I think the key word you use there is could. This is a huge ruling, undoubtedly, and it could upend, frankly, a cornerstone of this industry, which is the way that buyers and sellers pay their real estate agents. Right now, if you want to buy a house, you can pull up the listing yourself. You can get your agent to bring you the listing. You can see how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, the size of the lot. You can see what you're going to pay in taxes, but you won't see how much money of the sale, how much of the money from the sale is going to be used to pay your agent. And that's what the settlement in the U.S. has eliminated. It simply means that buyers should now get access to that information, and as such, they should be able to negotiate that fee a little bit better. The potential implications here are enormous. Right now, you have agents making tens of thousands of dollars, whether the buyer wants to use an agent or not. And I really do think, Erica, that's one of the fascinating stories we're going to be watching over the next several months in the U.S. is how the real estate industry as a whole adapts to this new rule.
Okay, so it has the potential to significantly alter the real estate market south of the border. Walk me through how it works here in Canada.
Yeah, the two systems, of course, are governed by very different legal systems, obviously, but the systems themselves are remarkably similar, right? Real estate agents, one representing the buyer, one representing the seller, they split a fee. You know, here in Canada, we have different systems across different jurisdictions, but they really are all quite similar. Toronto has the simplest math, so let's use that. Realtor fees in Toronto cost about 5%. The median price of a single detached home last month was a bit more than $1.2 million, so realtor fees would run you $61,000. Now, back in 1994, 30 years ago, the average price of a home in Toronto was $205,000. So realtor fees were $10,000. The buying agent, the selling agent would split that fee, and that split is baked into the deal. When you're buying a house, you have no way of knowing or even negotiating how much those fees are going to be.
So fees are through the roof, you point out, since the 1990s, even though the technology has changed enormously since then.
Exactly. Now, back then, you needed an agent to find you the listing. Now, most buyers do much of that legwork on their own, on their laptop, right? In a lot of cases, a buyer's agent is just helping with booking a viewing, advice on a bid price, and filing all that paperwork for you. In a lot of countries, you can hire somebody for like $500 to do that for you. And you know, technology is supposed to bring down prices, and yet, as you say, fees in this case are up considerably.
Now, you spoke with the lawyer who's bringing a similar lawsuit here in Canada. What did he tell you about the status of his case?
Yeah, he says the fundamentals of his case are the same as the basics in the U.S. case. It's about transparency. It's about fairness. It matters because we're talking about a huge amount of money.
Well, the entire point of our case in Canada is that there is no transparency. The real estate associations, the brokerages, the franchisors have created a system that ensures that there is no transparency effectively for buyers and sellers. The seller is required to make an offer of commission to the buyer broker.
So he's suing the Canadian Real Estate Association, dozens of brokerages right across the country. But, you know, wheels of justice do turn slowly, so it's going to be years before these cases are done. We reached out to the Canadian Real Estate Association that's named in this suit, and they sent us a quote saying, in Canada, realtors use their expertise to help guide buyers and sellers through the home buying process. Consumers have always been able to negotiate commissions with their agent as either sellers or buyers. So lots to watch going on.
So what is the bottom line here then, Peter, for consumers in Canada? What's the likelihood that we're going to see those tens of thousands in fees get eliminated the same way they were in the U.S.?
Yeah, that's the billion-dollar question here. And I think there's a couple of things worth noting here. One, the real estate industry and agent brokerages in the U.S., they're already pushing back against the notion that this settlement's going to lead to wholesale change. So we'll have to wait and see just how much change actually happens on the ground. The other is that a bunch of people told me as I reported this story that Canada's a very status quo environment, that change is often incremental here. So the legal questions are the same, but will we end up with a similar settlement to the one in the U.S. or perhaps a more nuanced kind of Canadian compromise? Either way, what are the implications of any change? I spoke with one real estate expert about what that change might actually look like here.
There's a chance that they may not be happy about it, because what if now the buyer commission, agent commission, you have to pay out of your pocket and the bank is not paying for it, right? Like right now it's baked into the mortgage amount, so you don't have an out-of-pocket cost, but now you have the flexibility and freedom to negotiate, but that amount is coming out of your own pocket right away. So it's very difficult for one to say, will 100% everybody will be happy, or some would say, well, I was happy with the last system. So there's much more nuanced future, and we have to wait and see.
It sounds like there may be some unintended consequences. What else should we be watching for?
So, I mean, grains of salt abound here, but, you know, realtors that I spoke with have told me the current system sure isn't perfect, but that it worked, right? And that in its way, it kept a cap on at least the percentages that were charged by agents. If the system now changes and buyers can negotiate, those real estate agents say it's a sure bet that the agents are going to negotiate more too. So you'll see some lower, but some higher. At the end of the day, I think the key thing for everybody here, whether we're talking about the courts, the buyers, the sellers, the agents, the brokerages, all of them, the key is transparency. The more you know, the better off you are.
And isn't that pretty much the case for everything, Peter? Thanks for this. Peter Armstrong in Toronto tonight. Parts of Canada are just days away from a total solar eclipse and a rare opportunity to see the sun's corona.
More energy than humanity has used ever.
We explain the sun's outer ring and the secrets it uncovers. The incredible opportunity for research when the moon blots out the sun.
Shouldn't I just be able to kind of do that myself?
Andrew Chang was curious what scientists can learn from a solar eclipse, like how the sun shapes the weather in space.
It's more energy than humanity has used ever.
And how that affects life here on Earth. So here's Andrew, the host of CBC News, about that to help you understand some of these cosmic mysteries.
So, I had a really stupid idea. You know how everyone's talking about the total eclipse on April 8th, and scientists are like obsessed with this idea of seeing the sun's corona. This outer layer made up of these streams of wispy plasma, which normally you cannot see because the sun, when you look at it directly, by the way, don't look at it directly, it's too bright to make out that part of the atmosphere. It's a bit like if I take this light, and let's just kill this light here while I do this. So if I'm holding this light and I do this and I turn it on, you can't really make it out very well, right? If I turn the light off, you can make out the detail of the object that I'm holding, but if I turn it back on again, you lose all of that. That's kind of what's we can turn on the light. That's kind of what's happening with the sun's corona. It's about 1 million times dimmer than the sun itself. So if the definition of a solar eclipse is just the moon blocking the sun, then shouldn't I just be able to kind of do that myself? Like, shouldn't, in theory, the corona just kind of magically appear without me having to actually wait for a solar eclipse to happen? Like I said, it was a stupid idea. Not that stupid, mind you, because modern telescopes actually do this. But in the end, I found out it's hard to beat the real deal. And very smart people will go to very great lengths to squeeze every bit of science they can out of solar eclipses. We care so much about the sun's corona because it is the part of the sun that is closest to us on this tiny little planet we call Earth. And when the sun gets excited, as it sometimes does, it spits out these huge blasts of solar matter.
A coronal mass ejection is basically part of what we call a solar eruption. So a solar eruption happens when basically there's a big explosion on the sun. And in fact, it's really cool because those explosions are the biggest ones that happen in the solar system, and they release as much energy as about 1 billion atom bombs going off over the course of just a few minutes. It's more energy than humanity has used ever.
In Quebec, about 35 years ago, a coronal mass ejection, or a CME, caused a geomagnetic storm that knocked out power for the entire province.
This shows what happened. All 5 lines from James Bay went out at the same time.
And just over 10 years ago, NASA says a massive CME barely missed Earth. If it had hit, they worried the ensuing storm could have caused trillions of dollars in damage to electronics and infrastructure.
Coronal mass ejections, when they hit Earth, if they hit in the right configuration, they can cause all sorts of effects. The particles that interact with the atmosphere, they cause increased radiation in the atmosphere. That can cause airplanes to have to reroute around the poles because they want to avoid that radiation. Those particles can interact with satellites, and sometimes if they don't put the satellites in the safe mode properly, it can knock those satellites out.
So we need to understand these things, to understand how space weather affects life on Earth and all of our satellites in orbit. We know the sun's magnetic fields drive these solar explosions, and though we can't see magnetism, the charged particles that make up the sun's corona trace those magnetic lines. And yet, there's still so much that we don't understand about how it works. For starters, why is it so hot? The sun's core is about 15 million degrees Celsius. That's the hottest part. As you get farther out from the core to the surface, it really cools down to somewhere around 5,500 degrees Celsius. But the corona, the kind of outermost layer of the sun's atmosphere, the part that's farthest away from the core, that can shoot right back up in temperature up to 3 million degrees Celsius. Like, it gets hotter, which doesn't really make sense.
What we know after many decades of studying the sun is that the energy, it has to be getting up into the corona to make it hot. And that energy is carried by the sun's magnetic field that permeates the corona. The thing we're still really trying to understand is how the magnetic field can carry the energy up into the corona and how it can release that energy to heat the corona.
So a good start to studying the corona is just trying to see the darn thing. My fist doesn't do a great job of blocking the sun's light because that light is still just bouncing and scattering every which way. The corona is still drowning in all of the ambient light. But something called a coronagraph can simulate a total eclipse right inside a telescope. And this video from NASA shows us how. As it turns out, by basically doing what I was doing outside. So you install this tiny mask inside the telescope that blocks the glare of the star that you're looking at. And by cleverly using mirrors and other optical gizmos, you can get a clearer picture of everything but the brightest source of light that you're trying to filter out. More advanced coronagraphs use different methods, but even then, there's always one problem.
Without the eclipse being present, you're still near the sun, right? And so you get blinded by stray light that's coming from the sun itself through ordinary optics.
So what scientists have come to realize after launching satellites and space telescopes that gave us images like this, the Parker Solar Probe has slingshotted around the sun for years for these really close flybys. Like, imagine the sun is here, there's Mercury and Venus, and there's us. The solar probe gets this close over and over again. That's pretty close. For all the ways that we have of studying the sun, it's still hard to beat the fidelity of a good old-fashioned, and for most of us, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of a total solar eclipse. So yes, we just wait until this big hunk of rock, the moon, blocks out the light just for a few minutes for any one person in any given place so we can get a really clear look at the sun's corona. There's actually a plan to extend the viewing time of the solar eclipse by strapping telescopes to a modified high-speed B-57 jet and then racing along the path of totality as the Earth spins, trying to stay in the moon's shadow for as long as possible. They did this in 2017 when the United States last saw a total solar eclipse. They even published a couple of papers showing off images that they captured with those high-resolution infrared cameras. They're doing it again this April 8th. And in case you're wondering what science you can actually do just by looking at the sun, well, how do you think we discovered helium? 1868. Two scientists, a French solar physicist and a British astronomer, were both independently observing the sun during a total solar eclipse, like the one coming up in April. And using a spectroscope to break down the light, they noticed a yellow line that didn't correspond to any known element. That element was helium. Helium comes from the Greek helios, which means the sun. It wouldn't be for another 20 years scientists would find helium on Earth. And since then, all that minute-by-minute observation, people would literally wait years for this opportunity, just a few minutes long at a time. We got so good at it that nowadays we can actually create predictive models of what the sun's corona is going to do at any given moment.
We're making great strides. There are lots of really talented people working on these problems, but we're not quite to the point where we can predict when a solar eruption is going to happen. But predicting what the corona is going to look like, I think people have come a huge, long way since the 1800s when we began really studying the corona.
It is true that the sun's corona is just one small slice of solar science. You can Google things like solar winds and Earth's ionosphere to learn about some of the other ways that we're still advancing eclipse science. But on April 8th, if you look up and think to yourself, just another pretty picture, think again.
Andrew Chang, the host of About That, will be bringing more of his deep explanations to the National. And you can catch About That every weekday on CBC News Explore or anytime on CBC Gem, on YouTube, and on cbcnews.ca. Next, a toddler who loves to talk.
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
A Target greeter in the making in our moment. That is one-year-old Uzai Thompson, and his head is always peering out of the shopping cart, ready to greet fellow customers. Uzai is so adamant about saying hello to everyone that his mom started to share his relentless enthusiasm. Tonight, the social butterfly is our moment.
Okay, don't come in here saying hey to everybody, okay?
Okay. Hi. 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 Hi.
Uzai is just like super like funny, bubbly, outgoing. A regular trip is a long trip because he has to stop and speak to everybody. High five? Until I like take the initiative to like just say, okay, time to go. Okay, come on. Say hi.
Hi.
Say how you doing?
How you doing?
They're like, oh my goodness, hi, how are you doing? Like, how old is he? And I'm like, one. They're like, oh my God, he's so smart. He always asks people, he like, do you love me? Like, he'll ask a stranger, like, do you love me? And I'm like, wait. Or he'll be like, I love you. Oh. Because we say that to him. I met him first. He just blew you a kiss. It makes me feel so good because I know like he's genuinely making other people's day, and you really just never know what anyone's going through. And I mean, he loves Target, I love Target. You just can't go wrong at Target.
Yeah.
And apparently, besides saying hi and handing out hugs, he sometimes reaches for products on the shelf and hands those out to customers saying, here, you might need this. So, you know, if Azai isn't on that store's payroll, maybe he should be. That's our show for this evening. Thank you so much for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Erica Johnson. Take care.